I'm also going to be brief because I'm interested more in listening to what a number of speakers are about to say, other than just to make a few points, perhaps, to say that, first of all, our main concern as South Africa and possibly other African countries and the developing world is how do we meaningfully assess resources, technology, innovations to work towards leveling the playing field, especially the playing field between developed countries and less developed countries. That is, I think, an important challenge that needs to be thrown to the world today and to companies and other initiatives like yours. For example, today there is a very important concept, or buzzword if you like, which is internationalization of higher education. Now, internationalization has got both advantages but also disadvantages. Because the positive side of internationalization of higher education is to deepen interactions amongst countries and globally, and cooperation, sharing of knowledge in higher education, something that we have an interest in as a country. Now, that is very positive insofar as you are able to enhance cooperation between North and South. But unfortunately, the downside of it at the moment is that it is also becoming a platform for countries with higher quality and better resourced education to sell their products to poorer countries in a manner that does not address or redress the playing field, but instead reinforces inequality in higher education. Chairperson and honorable participants, you must also bear in mind that if you take the African continent in particular, the African continent stands on the crossroads at the moment. It's touted as the next growth center globally, likely to receive large amounts of investments into infrastructure and technology. But the continent will not be able to make full use of that. In fact, it might actually end up being a second colonization. Unless also one of the things we've got to build is higher education, science, technology, and innovation. Precisely because of where the African continent is located at the moment, with the opportunities that are there, it is really well worth focusing on its potential. Many patents, by the way, originally, not as patents, but as products, come from the African continent, but they are patented in developed countries. Something that actually needs to be resolved. We don't think it's sustainable. You know, Xi Jinping, the president of the People's Republic of China, makes an important point that perhaps the only route towards the world getting out of the current economic conundrum, which is still with us since the 2007-2008 financial meltdown, is investment in innovation, which is what many of you are doing in terms of the products and all of those things that we are showing. Now, it is unsustainable that we can continue having the same parts of the world having the most concentration of innovation without at the same time taking advantage of, for instance, the South and less developed countries, many of whom have got geniuses. We find them here in Europe and North America, but we have got geniuses with which we can work with to actually change the situation. I will leave my full paper because there isn't time, as a copy so that you can actually look at it. But one of the things that the paper is calling for is serious dialogue. We need to create platforms for dialogue, especially between the North and the South. That is our primary concern. There are many challenges that are facing higher education at the moment. I will mention 3 and then end from our standpoint as South Africa. Firstly, we've got the challenge and the conundrum of student funding. It's a global problem. And student debt, by the way, some economic analysts are focusing, it may be the next point for another bubble, economic bubble, globally. The economies are not growing, families are investing in higher education, young people taking more debt, they come from middle-class families that could not afford, yet also increasingly they are unable to pay. But there are many other challenges around which we can be innovative in dealing with student-related challenges. For instance, one of the big challenges facing universities globally, especially in less developed countries, is high failure rate by university students. What does that mean? What methods can we come up with to address the issue of high failure rate of students? If we are talking online, for instance, innovations, shouldn't we be looking at a mentorship system that could be running across many countries to try and assist with the pass rate of first years? So that's one key component for us as South Africa, and I would argue many developing countries to address student needs, which are very crucial if we are to supply the human resources that we need. The other one is staff development, where I think that there could be lots of innovative ways of assisting with that. For example, some of our universities in South Africa, only 20% of professors have PhDs. So you can't take the 80% and send them wherever. We've actually got to try and assist them to attain their PhDs whilst they are at work at the same time. That's one of the things. We have an aging academic population in South Africa. Our professors, 60% of them are 55 years or older. That's another area that requires attention. But the last area, so it's student staff, the last area relates to curriculum and curriculum development and curriculum innovation today. On the one hand, there is a very progressive development of open learning sources, but on the other side, there is the challenge of lack of technology in many countries, even to be able to access those open learning sources. So we hope that with those words, they have left you with something to chew on. And I'm looking forward to be listening myself as a minister to what you are doing, what these various companies and other initiatives are about, and ensure that in one way or the other, we also benefit from understanding what's going on in the world. Once more, thank you very much for the invitation.